Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first ever Lloyds Careers Live Level Up Insider Tips, specifically our undergraduate audience. My name's Megan. I work in our culture and leadership team in Lloyds Banking Group, which is in our HR function. But not too long ago, I was on the HR graduate team. With so many graduate schemes, internships, and placements opening up applications right now, it can feel overwhelming, right? They've all got different stages, different deadlines, and it gets you thinking, how can I level up my application so I stand out? And tonight is all about answering that very question with real life advice and tips from people who've helped design that journey or experience. We'll explain the different graduate schemes and opportunities on offer at Lloyds Banking Group, talk you through our tailor-made guidance and prep tool, and also quiz a graduate who has just joined us.
Hi everyone, I'm Charlie and I'm a business and commercial graduate currently working in client services. Both Megan and I have experienced the recruitment journey too, so we have been in your shoes just a few years ago, completely understand how nerve-wracking it can be. We really hope this session will leave you feeling more prepared and a bit more knowledgeable. At Lloyds, we consider ourselves an inclusive employer in everything that we do. You can enable closed captions now if you'd find that beneficial, and if you'd like more time to consider the content tonight, then the recording of this webinar will be in our Lloyds Early Careers YouTube channel tomorrow. You can rewatch it all there along with the transcript of the show too.
Amazing. So we want to hear from you now. If you're comfortable using the chat function, could you please drop one word in the chat how you're feeling about applying for graduate schemes, internship, placements? How are we feeling tonight? Let us know. Alrighty.
Excited, determined.
No, overwhelmed. Hopefully we'll bust some of those feelings tonight, getting ourselves a bit more confident.
A lot of overwhelmed. I felt very overwhelmed as well, so it's completely normal.
Good indeed. We like it.
Energized.
Hopeful.
That's a good one. It's a good one.
It's tricky, isn't it? Slightly lost. I feel like I'm underprepared compared to others. It's really tough when people in our peer group are talking about what they're doing and what they're thinking about. Run your own race. You've got this.
And also, everyone's in the same boat. Just sometimes you don't realize it. But I graduated and I had no clue what I was doing. So if I can do it, you can.
Yeah. And we've got a current Lloyds Banking Group friend, which is lovely to see.
Oh, nice.
Opportunity as well, most definitely.
Ready. I like that one. Ready. Full caps.
Full caps straight in. Fantastic. Thanks so much for letting us know how you're feeling. We've now got a couple of quick polls for you to try. So firstly, we want to know on a scale of 1 to 5, how confident are you in creating a standout graduate scheme, placement, or internship application? 5 being I'm super confident, 1 being I'm not confident at all.
We're coming in.
Okay, so we're looking at a lot of 3s at the minute.
Please.
The majority of us are feeling somewhat confident, which is a good middle ground.
Yeah, hopefully we can help with that.
48% of us have landed on number 3. So hopefully by the end of this session, we'll be able to boost those numbers.
So we've got another poll for you as well. So this poll is on a scale of 1 to 5, to what extent do you feel Lloyds Banking Group is your preferred choice of employer? So 1 being not at all and 5 very likely.
To see, we're really up in the top end here. Lots of 4s and 5s.
Very high. We're flattered, guys.
We'd love to have you. Come aboard.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing. We'll come back to this later and see if we've improved these scores at all.
And from time to time, we'll open up Q&As and the chat. And at certain points, we'll delve into the chat to see what common themes are emerging and get back to your comments. We do encourage you now to relax into the show and listen carefully as we give out lots of important information that sometimes you can miss if you're busy thinking of questions. But now it's time to hear from our first guest. And to kick us off, we've got Sam Wainwright, our Senior Recruitment Manager. Sam's been working to design and deliver the graduate recruitment journey, so is the perfect person to open us up as we discuss the different opportunities open right now. Hello, Sam, over to you.
Hi, Megan. Thank you very much for the introduction, and I'm thrilled to be here and see so many enthusiastic young talent out there. So thank you ever so much. Yes, I head up recruitment at Lloyds. Just checking, can you all see my video? Okay.
Not yet,
No.
Me anyway.
That's strange because it says it's working, but it's not. Let me try again.
On screen now
Okay.
for me, Sam.
Is that working?
I can see you.
Yeah, that's working.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Yes, I head up the recruitment team here at Lloyds Banking Group, and we've been open for our graduate and IP roles now for a couple of weeks. So we've had lots and lots of interest, some great talent flying through. But tonight is really to help demystify what happens behind the application, how to set yourself up for success. Inclusivity, as was mentioned at the top of the call, is a really important tenet of ours from a process and a user experience perspective. So really want to be as transparent as possible about all the things that you should have in your back pocket as you approach our application and selection process. As alluded to, we'll be able to answer questions as we go. So please do pop them into the chat if things come to mind, and I will try and be as thorough as possible with what we share. So let me just now share with you a few slides just to help bring to life some of what you will start to see as you enter our recruitment process. So I shall just go on to presentation mode. So who are we, first of all? It was brilliant to see so much interest. So I'm assuming that most of you know who we are, but we are Lloyds Banking Group. We're a family of lots of really exciting and dynamic brands within the financial services sector. We have a really rich tapestry of heritage behind us, but we're also really pushing boundaries as we go forward into the future. So we're in one of Europe's largest digital transformations at the moment. We're driving for inclusion. We're making really bold choices. And what drives all of us is helping Britain prosper. So looking at how we give back, how we make sure that we are supporting our customers and our communities in all of the things that we undertake. And as you come through the group, you will really feel that energy in terms of how important that is to us, how seriously we take that mandate, and how it kind of underpins everything that we do. So I know most of you are at university and will be interested in the right-hand side of this slide, but we do offer opportunities across the board engaging with next generation talent. So right from school work experiences, we then look at internships through in placements while you're an undergraduate. We offer, as you will know today, our graduate roles. We offer 12-month industrial placements over for some of our schemes, and we also obviously offer entry-level roles and apprenticeships. So lots and lots of opportunity across the group. Typically, we offer somewhere between 350 and 400 graduate roles a year, and that's very similar again this year. So just moving through, here's a very brief overview of some of the programs that we have on offer currently. So you'll see there all the different schemes that we offer. Typically, our graduate programs are between 2 to 3 years. Our actuarial program can be longer because of the amount of study that's required, but typically they're 2 to 3 year schemes. We offer different placements within those. So typically you'll do 3 rotations. You'll get a really good experience across the business unit that you're in. We are tethered to business units, so you will become a real SME, and we're looking for people that really are motivated by that area. So perhaps you're really interested in human resources, or actually more on the data management or data science side of things. You are able to apply for one graduate program a year. So my absolute top tip is please make sure you spend lots of time on our website. The link is on the slide at the moment, but it will be sent out again after this session, to really do your background research into understanding our different programs. We're in different locations, and it's listed here, but again, it's all on our website. So make sure you're taking the time to really understand the program that's going to suit your specific skills and help you achieve your career aspirations. In terms of eligibility, there's lots of things that you will be asked on the application form as you come through. Obviously, you have to have a degree, so you need to have obtained an undergraduate degree, a master's or higher degree, or international equivalent thereof to be eligible. We ideally suggest 2.2 and above, but we will consider applications from students that may not be on track for that at the moment. And all of our eligibility criteria is listed on the website again. So that really is your best friend. We spend lots of time making sure that all the information is transparent and public, and you can take the time to research different elements. If you are more technical in nature, then our technology engineering and our data science and AI programs are for you. They have coding assessments, which you would do as you go through our recruitment process, and I'll come on to all the assessments in a moment or two. But do take the time to have a look there. We've got lots of roles across the country in some of those more technical disciplines. We're always very inundated for our corporate banking and market schemes, and sometimes we do need to close early. So my other tip is, if you are interested as an employer, please do make sure you get your application in sooner rather than later, because we'd hate you to miss out. The good news is, in order to apply, there is a very simple form that you need to complete. What we don't do in our process, which is quite unique, is we don't ask for a CV and we don't ask for a cover letter. So you don't need to set aside hours to prepare your application. In order to sort of register your interest, there's a few eligibility criteria we will ask you. We'll get to know a bit more about you, and that will be your application in. What we do as a replacement for the CV and covering letter is we want to understand your unique skills. So as you can see on the slide at the moment, we will offer out an invitation to our online assessments as the first selection stage. So very short application form, which you'll be able to fulfill, and then you'll be invited to our online tests. Our online tests are hosted by our provider Capfinity. Jack's here with us today, and he'll be able to bring some of that to life. To support you in those online tests and to support our pledge of being a really inclusive employer, we have a candidate preparation zone. So if you get to the online test stage, we will be sending you out a link with everything you need to know about our assessments. So it doesn't matter if you've not done online tests before, perhaps you haven't done numerical reasoning or critical reasoning tests, and it's all feeling a bit overwhelming, and some of those nerves you talked about will come through. We absolutely appreciate that. We've got lots of different talent with lots of different types of experience, and what's really important to us is that we really level that playing field, and we just want to understand and help you set yourself up for success. So you'll be sent details for that candidate prep hub, and it will bring to life the types of assessments that you will be undertaking. It will allow you to practice, and I'll let Jack talk to that in a bit more detail as we move through. So we have a first online assessment stage, and you are generally given a couple of weeks to do that. As I mentioned, for our tech schemes, that will look like a coding type assessment. In our non-tech, it's a blend of behavioural as well as skills-based assessments as well. And that really just helps us get to know you, get to know your unique skills. We spend lots of time trying to make the assessments as realistic as possible. So the scenarios that you're met with are very, very true to life in terms of the type of work and the types types of things that we actually do here at Lloyds Banking Group. So hopefully you'll get that experience as you go through to really bring the roles to life and understand the type of work that you might be able to get involved with. As a second stage, we then go into what we call a job insights assessment for our grads and IPs, and also our internships. And this is where we get to know you in a bit more detail. So there's different types of questions in this scenario. They're scenario based. They're able to upload both written content as well as verbal and video responses, so that we can really get to understand how you position things and your thoughts about the scenario that's given to you. So we take lots of time to review those assessments. They are reviewed by humans. So sometimes there can be a bit of a delay at that job insight stage, and you're finding out whether you've got to the final stage or not. We do our very, very best to get through as much of those as possible, as quickly as possible. But again, please don't worry if it does take a few weeks for us to come back to you. And then our final stage is an assessment centre, which can be virtual or face-to-face, dependent on the scheme that you have applied for. Typically, it's just over a half-day interaction. So it's a chance for you to meet our lovely business assessors and understand the roles in a bit more detail. We have current graduates come along that help bring the role to life, and we'll host a Q&A so that you can ask those questions that perhaps you don't want to ask us as a recruitment team. And then there's a few exercises. So there is a preparation activity that you will be sent prior to the assessment centre. We found that that's really helps candidates come into the assessment centre feeling prepared, feeling that they've kind of set themselves up for success. So you'll be sent all the details of that prior to attending. And then we do different exercises, one of which will be an in-depth interview to help really understand your personal experience and motivations for joining the programme in more detail. So that's a bit of a whistle-stop tour, and I'm very aware that there's lots of information there. So I will attempt to stop sharing, and I wonder if there's any questions at all at this point.
Thanks for that. I think maybe one quick question is, I've seen quite a few people say about a law degree. I've got a law degree, can I go into commercial banking? Yes, you can. To summarize, yeah, it doesn't really matter. I started the business and commercial banking graduate scheme and had no banking experience. So just to finish that. But thank you so much, Sam. That was so useful to see all of the applications that you could do and to see it all mapped out. It can sometimes be a bit overwhelming when you don't have it in front of you. But also a reminder to everyone that you can find each requirements for each program on the website, which I'm sure is linked in the chat. And that's always the first step, as you said. Research what you're interested in and find out why you're motivated for it. As a reminder, you can continue to put your questions in the chat, and Myra and the team will do their very best to work through all of your questions. But for now, let's hear from Jack, who works at Capfinity, who helped Lloyds design the different assessments. Let's see what kind of things you can do to prepare for the application stages.
Hi, Jack. To start us off, it'd be useful to hear a bit about your role and Capfinity's role in the recruitment journey.
Thank you. Apologies, that took me a little while to get on screen, having some technical difficulties. But lovely to be here tonight. And yeah, thank you all so much for giving up time to learn a little bit more about what the assessment process might look like for you. So just quickly, my name's Jack Galliers. I'm a managing assessment consultant at Capfinity. So I have a background in business psychology and a real kind of passion for designing assessments. Now, we work really closely with Sam and the next generation talent team at Lloyds Banking Group in an aim to design and deliver that assessment journey that Sam's kind of taken us through for graduates, interns, any placement programs as well as apprentices. And I guess my role really is about ensuring that the recruitment process that you might be going through is fair and inclusive, and gives every candidate that opportunity really to show their true potential. We don't want to be catching anybody out, and we don't want to be asking anything unfair. We really want to give you the opportunity to learn more about what it's like to work at Lloyds Banking Group. So in terms of who we are and kind of what we've done and worked closely with Lloyds on, we're called Catfinity, and we specialise in skills-based assessment for potential, and that's really what we're keen to help Lloyds Banking Group bring in, which is great minds, those that really have the potential to grow in role. So that means we're not really looking for what you've done previously, but it's more what you're naturally great at and your potential to grow. So for Lloyds, we've helped shape that entire assessment journey from those initial online tests that Sam was talking about, all the way through to that final assessment centre. And you'll get an opportunity throughout those assessments to learn a little bit more about Lloyds Bank, what initiatives they're running, what else you can be doing in your role, and hopefully give you an opportunity to understand if Lloyds Banking Group's the right fit for you, as well as let them to understand if you're a right fit for them. That's really our goal at Catfinity, is to help Lloyds Bank identify future talent in a way that's really engaging, really meaningful, and gives something back to you going through the process. What we're really proud of is the fact that we give a full experience outside of the assessment process as well. So I'll take you through the preparation site just briefly in a moment, but want to pause for a second just to let you know, if you are going through the process, you will, like Sam said, be getting feedback. There'll be reports that are tailored to your how you kind of responded in the assessments, and in relation to kind of either what you've experienced and maybe what you could be taking on into the role itself, or if you decide not to continue with the process, you can take that on in your future career. So it's not just about you kind of giving your time up for Lloyds. There is that opportunity to take something away from it as well. Like I said, we have built a bespoke preparation site, and I'm really happy to kind of just walk you through what that looks like now. I know that I heard at the start of the call there's quite a few people that have nerves, maybe feel they've got a bit of imposter syndrome, things like this. It's really common to be experiencing that as part of an assessment process. And my kind of top tip really to be taking away, I'll give you a few kind of more tips as we go through. My top tip is, if you can spare even half an hour to just go through this preparation site, it will really give you an eye as to what you're going to be experiencing. And I think that's where I receive most of the questions from any next generation talent applicants, is kind of what is there to expect. Sam's done a really great job, I should say, of kind of bringing it to life. But if it's okay with you, Charlie, what I'll do is just take us through this prep site and what that looks like.
Yep, of course.
Great. Sorry to get you to jump back on camera there.
That's right.
Any other questions or anything? So fingers crossed, everybody can see coming up on their screen now something that says practice zone. It's all changed on my screen, so I'll take that as it's working. So yeah, the prep site is available to all that do apply, and we'll share a link to the website for you to be able to have a look through in your own time. You simply sign up, and then you're able to access a whole wealth of interesting opportunities to prepare, or for guidance or additional resources that you might be able to look into. So the first page that you're met with is a really clear kind of insight to what we've already been covering today, I suppose. Parts on what your process is going to look like. I know that might be a bit tricky for people to see on the screen, but all the way from your initial application through your online assessment, how long you might be expected to wait. We've got in orange here when you're likely to receive those reports I was talking about, and if you're successful, the next stages that you'll be going through. So for anybody that's applying to a non-tech role, you'd be going through this approach where you have an online assessment. And for technology and data schemes, that would be a bit more of a technical assessment. For those that are in a non-tech space, it's a bit more of a behavioral and values alignment assessment. And then you'd move on to job insight assessment, which I'll give you a little bit of an insight as to what that could look like. Then following that, if you are successful, again, you would go through to the assessment day that Sam's kind of covered, would be about just over half a day to experience a whole range of different exercises in a virtual face-to-face space, depending on which scheme you apply for. I've just unfortunately lost the prep site, but along with the map of what you'd be experiencing as an applicant. We've also provided you with opportunities to learn about yourself. So I talked about, a values assessment. Then there's an opportunity to go and think about your values. If you click in, you'd be able to go on a couple of exercises just to learn about what values are important for Lloyds. You can see them at the top, and also maybe your learning styles, things that you want to be thinking about in terms of when you're interviewing, or if you're in an assessment centre, things that can be useful just to have at the tip of your tongue about explaining, the way you like to work, the way you like to learn, etc. All of this is about giving you the opportunity to have time outside of an assessment process to be thinking about kind of what makes you you. It's all about authenticity at the end of the day, and making sure that you come across as genuine and that you are really presenting yourself in the best light. So that's what we've put in this learn about yourself section, is opportunities to, as it says, learn about yourself. Also, what we're providing is a few practice assessments. They take kind of two formats, and then if you are successful, a whole extra zone within the practice zone will open to you to tell you a little bit more about assessment centres. But at this point, if you're applying to Lloyds Banking Group, you're going to be going through the online assessments first and foremost, and we don't want to overwhelm you with too much information that might not be essential for you to your applications now, because we know there's a lot on at this point. So in the practice assessments, you're given a few different opportunities. Sam mentioned different cognitive assessments like numerical, critical reasoning. Some of you might have been through this in other application processes, might have never experienced them before. Well, now's the opportunity to be able to go in, click on the cognitive assessments, and you'll be able to experience a few different types of cognitive assessments, or a practice skills assessment. So looking at your behaviours and your values, you go in and have an opportunity to look at that as well. The next stage, like I mentioned, was you go through an online test and then a job insight assessment. There's a separate part of the website that you can be going into to start that journey. It's a mock assessment that we've made. I know it can be a bit daunting to be sort of speaking to a camera, a bit like I am at the minute. Well, there's an opportunity to go and try out your technology to make sure you understand, how things are working. And that's what this opportunity is. It's not measured in any way. We do give you a bit of feedback on how you did in the assessment, really just more for you to be reflecting on how you like to think. Like I said, the values you have, etc. Those would come out to you after you complete these mock assessments. But there's a video setup tile, and then we give you 3 placements that you'd be going through, which bring to life a few of the kind of interview questions you might be expecting, or scenarios you might face in the online assessments themselves. Excuse me one last time while I jump back into Practice Hub. So then there are a couple other pieces, and I think these are the real crown, the jewels in the crown of this practice zone for you. There's a section called Set Yourself Up for Success. This has loads of information in here about building confidence, for example. The self-led webinars that you're able to bring yourself through. Each video only lasts about 10 minutes, hopefully giving you kind of more insight into kind of what to expect and how to be building confidence through the process and in the assessment process more broadly. Then there's tips around interview preparation as well, more specifically what to be doing, and then downloads that you can take away to consider ahead of any interviews that you might be going through. Last but not least, the FAQ section. So a few more hints and tips. I recognise we're running out of time here, so I'll be quick. But the FAQ section is really, really helpful if you just want more detail. across the hints and tips and FAQs for what to expect at each stage, what that might look like for if you're in certain programs. And also, if you've got any questions about reasonable adjustments, please head here first and foremost. They give you ideas about what adjustments can be made, who to be reaching out to if you need an adjustment, etc. So head here before you start your journey. Learn about yourself and your own skills, and then test out your technology too, because all of these things really help you to settle your nerves and perform at your best when you do decide to actually make that application. I will stop sharing there, and hopefully you guys can, is that still sharing, or you guys, is it closed down again now?
It hasn't closed down just yet.
Yeah, I can still see that.
Stop share them. That would help. Okay.
Like that was really, really valuable. And seeing it all laid out there is super helpful to bring it to life. All the different stages very clearly. Like I'm sure many of us all can't wait to go and start on that site as well. So we're now joined by Scarlett, a graduate who's just started on the risk graduate scheme a few weeks ago. And what better way to bring this session to a close than to hear it from a graduate who's been through this process recently. So Scarlett, thanks so much for joining. How have you settled in so far?
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk today. So yes, I have only just joined my graduate scheme, been here a month. We started off with a induction, so I met all my fellow risk grads, and then I've just joined my team, and it's been amazing. They've been so welcoming and so friendly, and it's just made me really excited to get stuck into the job.
That's so nice to hear. But going back to when you applied, did you feel how everyone else felt on this call? Maybe nervous or overwhelmed? How were you finding it all?
Definitely. I think from as soon as I sent that online application, those nerves came flooding in. And throughout the whole thing, definitely felt nervous, scared. So I'd say for anyone feeling like that as well, it's very normal. So don't be worried, because we're all probably in the same position.
Absolutely. And to help everyone on the call today feel less nervous and fill them with confidence, how did you tailor your application to Lloyds specifically? And did you do anything that you think helped you stand out?
So I would say a quick little bit of advice is I found that less is more. So you can fall into the trap of applying for loads of graduate schemes. And I found I very much did that. I feel it's very normal to do that. But I found the ones that I tailored my application for, I did much better in. So I'd say really keep that like in mind. Really do your research and tailor it. So what I did is I initially looked into the Lloyds' values, and I quickly realised that I really aligned with them. So I used this to like answer all my motivation questions. So why I wanted to work for the bank, why I chose this scheme, and was able to kind of apply how I showed these values in everyday life. So this was really great, and I do think that helped me stand out. Another thing is I looked into, like on LinkedIn, there was loads of things about Lloyds' initiatives and strategies. So you might see a lot of like the fast forward. It was great to not only see what Lloyds is doing, but what Lloyds is trying to do. So like, you know, you are aware of other things. And then finally, I set up Google Alerts. So I also didn't come from a finance background. I actually did chemistry at university. So having those Google Alerts about Lloyds Bank, about my specific scheme was great, because I was slowly learning bit by bit what was happening. And that really helped during my application. So when I was giving answers, I was also able to back them up with examples that I had recently seen.
I think that's amazing. I know we've had a few questions in the chat about, you know, how to really smash your interviews and how to stand out. And I think I did a similar thing. Just research. You know, the more motivated you are, the more that comes across. And I would say write some notes as well, because I took them into my interview, and I think that kind of helped me. I felt more confident. I looked prepared. So yeah, I think that's definitely great advice, Scarlett. We've also seen Jack show us the prep site. So did you use that? Were there any other resources or people that helped you maybe through the application process?
Yes, definitely. I'd really recommend to anyone watching to go onto that website. I went on the job insight assessment. I had no idea what was going to be involved. So just kind of being prepared for maybe situations where they maybe give you a minute to prepare and then you have to give a verbal response. I'd never really done that before. So to have a bit of practice and know I wasn't being assessed was great. So I'd really recommend getting stuck into that website because there's loads on there. And then also talking to friends, family, I found that was really handy for preparing my interview questions. It's quite nice to speak it out to someone and have someone listen and then also correct me because there's so much you miss when you're speaking. So it's nice to have someone listening over. So always reach out. Everyone's happy to help.
Amazing, that's great advice, and definitely it sounds a lot different when you say it out loud compared to written on your page. So great advice there, and lots of interest in the Q&A about the assessment centre. How did you prepare for that?
So this is when I very much felt the feelings of nervousness. I was very scared. So I tried to do as much preparation as I could. So talking about the interview questions, I created a big Word document filled with a variety of interview questions, from motivation to skills-based to maybe ones more specific to my scheme. And I would answer them like fully, have them all typed up. I'd use the STAR method, which I really recommend. If anyone's heard of that, really recommend using that. And I had it all typed up, so I had it as a bit of a reference point. And then I would kind of read through it and then speak it out loud, and just practice that over and over again. And then to simplify that all down, because it was a big document, and I understand in the interview you're not going to be able to read it before your interview questions. So I made like a little mind map that, it took 10 minutes to do, and I wrote down maybe all the skills. So if there was a time where you've shown teamwork skills, and I'd put teamwork, and then I'd have an experience below that. So let's say it was a university project, I just put that below. And then in my interview, I just had it next to me. So if I had a mind blank, because it is very overwhelming, I was able to just refer to that, and it would just, kickstart my brain again, and I'd be able to get back in the zone. So that is great. And it's, a really quick thing to do. But that's more to do with the interview. I would say for the rest of it, when you might have like your pre-work, if you've got another little assignment to do in the assessment centre, I'd say keep on background reading. There's loads online at Lloyds, all on LinkedIn. There's loads on there. And the Google alerts, I think, really saved me because I was able to back up my answers with examples, and I think that really helped me stand out.
Yeah, that's amazing advice. I remember when I did it a couple of years ago, I was working full time as well. So obviously time is very short. And I think I used ChatGPT to help me narrow stuff down as well. So just anything you can to just research and really understand what you're talking about, because they don't mean to catch you off guard. They're set up to help you thrive, but it's just natural to get a little bit of a mind blank sometimes. So having a couple of options maybe in your head or written down really help, or they helped me at least. So finally, looking back, what's one thing you wish you'd known and you'd give as advice to anyone watching?
So I would definitely say, again, it's another trap many people can fall into. It's so easy to compare yourself to others. I found, like, especially in my assessment centre, when you were meeting other people, I was comparing my qualifications, my experiences to others, which really meant I felt very out of my depth. So I would just say, always remember to be yourself. The biggest thing that they're looking at is not only your qualifications and your experiences, but your personality. It's the time where your personality can really shine through. So be yourself. I know it's a very stressful and overwhelming experience, but just take a step back and just show yourself for who you really are. And it really does go a long way. Lloyds really want to see how, your personality aligns with their values and kind of what they want to see for the business. So yeah, just shine through. And another bit of advice, I know Jack mentioned it, is imposter syndrome. I've suffer with that still, you know, it still creeps up. But I would say do not let imposter syndrome stop you from applying. It's tough when you're going through this whole experience, when you're applying for, you know, a lot of internships, a lot of graduate schemes. And it's tough when, you know, you might get rejections, but don't let yourself get disheartened. Just keep on pushing through, keep on those applications, keep on researching, because honestly, you never know what's going to happen. And just take everything as an achievement, because it's a massive thing. And to even be doing this and applying for things is is a great thing. So just keep on going, be yourself in the applications, and you'll do amazing.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Scarlett. It's so reassuring to hear someone who's been through it so recently and how you've managed so well. Thank you. All right. So earlier we asked you on a scale of 1 to 5 how confident you are in creating a standout graduate scheme, placement, or internship application. Let's check again. Where are you now? After hearing Sam's overview of the schemes, Jack's overview of the guidance that's available to you, and Scarlett's hints and tips, and even moving up 1 point means you've already taken a step forward to give yourself a pat on the back. Let's have a look.
Wow.
Nice. Lots more fours. Mm-hmm. It's great to see.
Give that a minute.
It is. It's showing people, isn't it, who've been through this, who've done it, and they're really the things you can apply, the nitty-gritty that you can actually apply and do.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of questions in the chat as well are also based off experience. Honestly, Lloyds are looking at your potential more than your experience. So maybe some of the tech schemes, you might need some technical abilities, but for the more finance, economic ones, as long as you're interested and you're motivated to learn, you're in a good place. So let's look at the other poll as well. So on a scale of 1 to 5, to what extent do you feel Lloyds Banking Group is your preferred choice of employer? If we could look at that one. Oh, wow. Lots of 4s and 5s again. So we didn't scare you off. That's a good sign.
Perfect.
I will say as well, in all of the interviews that I had, the interviewers were so lovely that you could just sit and chat to them. So that really helped. And that was one of the reasons why I picked Lloyds actually in the end.
Amazing. So good to see people moving up the scale, exactly what tonight was about. And don't forget, you can watch the replay of this live stream on the Lloyds Banking Group Careers YouTube tomorrow. And you can also develop your career readiness skills on our new Connector site, which has a host of development modules, real colleagues from Lloyds who you can connect with as mentors, and you can also see different events and opportunities we have coming up.
And many of you also like to write stories on LinkedIn about how these calls are helping you. We really do love reading all of those stories. So please tag us. It means a lot to read your experience and it helps us understand how to make this show even better. This is our very first show for undergraduates. So we'd love to hear what you think. And you can also see what it's like to work at Lloyds Banking Group by following our behind the scenes TikTok, which is so fun. Just search up Lloyds Banking Group and we'll pop up.
We hope you've enjoyed the session and it's helped you feel more prepared for your applications, interviews and assessment centres. Here are some things you can do next. So number 1, sign up to a Skills Fest event near you via Eventbrite. And this will give you a real look inside our offices through a day of interactive activity. And these are at weekends where you get the chance to come in, bring parents, carers, and try your hand at some jobs that we have at Lloyds, and also see inside our fabulous hub office building. The second thing you might consider doing is following us on TikTok for behind the scenes careers tips. And then lastly, to sign up to our Faster Forward site on Connector and reach out to mentors and complete some learning modules.
Thank you to everyone who came and to all of our guests. It's been great having you here and see you again at the next Careers Live. So Michelle, if I just hand over to you now.